It really does matter where you go to school. And the thing about online education now is there's just such a range of institutions and offerings, which range from private companies offering stuff who are kind of degree factories, if you like, all the way through to what's called Research One universities, so universities which do heavy-duty research. Research One institutions are a number of universities which are classified as doing a lot of new knowledge building, if you like. Now that can be either in the form of doing a lot of grant work, funded grant work, or research work where the people who work in the academics who work in the institution are expected to be building new knowledge and publishing all the time, either in journals or as books. Here at the University of Illinois, everybody in the College of Education is somebody who has got here because they've published, they've created knowledge in the field, they're people who are innovators in the field, and they're people doing research. Now, we also, we don't employ adjuncts to do this work. We don't employ part-timers. We don't, we have teaching assistants, but they're often our PhD students in the college who are part of this, a collegial apprenticeship model. So there's just a world of difference between those kind of online institutions which are purely online, which are not research institutions, and this institution. The way in which being in a research institute drives my work and my teaching is that I spend half my life doing research and writing. The other half I spend teaching, but it means that always there's a kind of a dialogue backwards and forwards between the research work and the teaching work, and it's actually not a one-way dialogue. I learn an incredible amount from the students in my class. So the students in my classes are typically teachers, people who work in educational technology businesses, curriculum developers. They're the kinds of people. So it's not just that I'm doing research with research grants and thinking about the way in which e-learning environments work in my own research, but my students are practitioners, and I learn an incredible amount about things they're doing in their classrooms, things that are happening in schools, new bits of software that they're using which I would never even have heard of. So for me, it's those two halves of my life, the teaching half and the research half. It's incredibly valuable to have that dialogue backwards and forwards. My own research is about e-learning ecologies generally, and I'm interested in how they work and what their dynamics are. So part of that, I've had a number of research and development grants from the Institute of Educational Sciences in the US Department of Education, and also from the Gates Foundation. And what I'm interested in is the dynamics of these environments, and how specifically the specifics of how they work. So my own narrow background is around writing pedagogy. So how might, in a writing environment, peer feedback, peer review, peer commentary improve your work, and how can we trace that improvement through the revision process? I'm also interested in something which is technically called classroom discourse, which is, how do students respond to teachers in environments? How do, so the classic piece of classroom discourse is the teacher asks a question, the student puts up their hand and responds, and the teacher then evaluates that. Well, in fact, in activity streams, online discussion boards, we do a version of that, except it's different because it's online. So my view is, in fact, the online ones are more powerful than traditional classroom discourse. But I'm interested in researching the specifics of how they're more powerful and how they work. I'm actually in classrooms all the time. I'm watching kids interact in these e-learning environments, and I'm learning a lot about that experience and writing it up. So, the research matters, because if the participants in our courses are K-12 teachers who are every day dealing with technology-mediated learning in the classroom. I'm in classrooms as well, trying to think through what the next generation of these learning environments will be like. Now, educational technologies are moving very, very fast. So we're involved in both observing what happens, but also trying to design new e-learning environments for kids in classrooms. The students in my program say the program's fundamentally changed their approach to teaching and the work that they do. And I just see, watching the students as they develop, I see their confidence in using technologies in the classroom growing, because all the time what they do in our classes, they talk about what they're doing with their classrooms. They've found a new piece of software which they've implemented. They've developed a new technique for student interaction in a technology-mediated environment. So what you see is over the period of the program, you see a transformation. In higher ed, we're going through a transformation in what the university is. So if you say that the university in its current form, which involves lectures and tutorials and handing in essays and doing tests, that whole architecture is a few hundred years old, maybe even older than that. But the coming of e-learning changes every single aspect of that work. And it's not just for online teaching, it's also what's called blended learning, where these tools, in fact often exactly the same tools, are used to support in-person face-to-face teaching as well. So we're going through this really quite fundamental transformation now in the way in which college and university education occurs. So that's why a program like this, where we're thinking about that. I mean, I'm going through that transformation myself, and I'm experimenting with new, in my research, of new pedagogies and new ways of using technology-mediated learning environments. But then, the participants in the course are people who are professors and also technology specialists as well, who want to upgrade their skills, and I hear from them what they're doing. Now, the first generation of tools were things like Moodle and Blackboard, and actually Canvas is still a first generation tool. Desire to Learn is, for me, still a first generation tool. We have another generation now of tools which look and feel more like Twitter and Facebook, and we're actually involved in trying to think through, okay, what is the next phase? Where is this e-learning universe going? So one of the great things about this course, it's kind of a dialogue between the research that we're doing, but also the course participants' experience of that transformation at the moment. So at the moment, it's a very, very fluid moment. So to kind of get together and think through together where things are going, it's been a very powerful experience.